You don't get to walk away from me, Naomi! Do you hear me? Stop!
Please, just let me go.
Not after everything. You think you can run? You think you can just leave me standing here?
I can't do this anymore.
Turn around, look at me!
Picture this. A church filled with white roses, 200 guests watching in silence, and a young black bride standing alone at the altar, abandoned. Her groom just walked away, mid-vows, in front of everyone. The whisper started immediately, the humiliation sinking in like poison. But then, something happened that no one expected. The church doors exploded open. The sound of 500 motorcycle engines roaring outside shook the stained glass windows. A massive biker, covered in tattoos, stormed down that aisle, his gang flooding in behind him. Every guest froze in terror. What happened next? What they did changed everything and exposed a truth about this wedding that will leave you speechless.
Maya Thompson had dreamed of this day since she was a little girl growing up in Birmingham, Alabama. 28 years old, a pediatric nurse with a smile that could light up the darkest hospital room, she'd spent the last 2 years planning every detail of this wedding. The venue, St. Augustine's Church, a beautiful historic building with high ceilings and ornate woodwork. The flowers, white roses and peonies, her mother's favorites. The dress, an elegant ivory gown she'd found at a small boutique, alterations done by her aunt's careful hands. Her fiancé, Derek Whitmore, came from one of the oldest families in the county. They'd met at a hospital fundraiser where his family's foundation was the main sponsor. He was charming, successful, a pharmaceutical sales executive who drove a BMW and wore tailored suits. Their relationship moved quickly. Dinners at expensive restaurants, weekend trips to coastal resorts, introductions to his family that felt stiff but polite. Maya's mother, Patricia, had reservations from the start. "Baby, I just want to make sure he loves you for you," she'd said one evening while helping Maya address wedding invitations. "Not for what you represent to him." "Mama, Derek loves me," Maya had insisted, though something in her voice wavered. "He proposed, didn't he? He wants to build a life together." But there were signs. Small things that Maya pushed down, rationalized, ignored. The way Derek's friends would fall silent when she entered a room. How his mother, Catherine Whitmore, would smile with her mouth but not her eyes, suggesting that maybe Maya should reconsider her natural hair for the wedding. Something more elegant, dear. The cousin who'd had too much wine at the engagement party and slurred, "Derek's always liked being different." Still, Maya held on to her dream. She believed in their love. She believed that their union would prove something, that love could bridge any divide, that they were starting something beautiful and true. The morning of the wedding, Maya's bridesmaids surrounded her in the church's bridal suite. Her sister Jasmine carefully pinned her veil. Her best friend Keisha kept making everyone laugh, lightening the nervous energy. Maya looked at herself in the mirror, radiant, hopeful, trusting. "You ready for this?" Keisha asked, squeezing her shoulder. "More than ready," Maya replied, though her hands trembled slightly as she held her bouquet. Meanwhile, in the groom's room down the hall, Derek sat in silence while his groomsmen joked and drank whiskey. His best man Chad clapped him on the back. "Last chance to back out, man," he said, laughing. But Derek didn't laugh. His face had gone pale, and he kept checking his phone. The church filled with guests. Derek's side was packed. Business associates, country club friends, extended family in expensive clothes and practiced smiles. Maya's side was smaller, but warmer. Nurses from the hospital, church family, cousins who'd driven in from 3 states away, her father's old military buddies in their dress uniforms. The energy felt divided, separate, 2 worlds forced together under one roof. The organist began playing. Derek walked down the aisle with his mother, her expression unreadable. The groomsmen took their positions. Then the bridal party started their procession. Jasmine walked slowly, throwing nervous glances toward Derek. Keisha followed, her jaw tight. Finally, the doors at the back opened wide.
Maya appeared, her arm linked with her father's, her face glowing with hope and love. The traditional wedding march swelled through the church. But something was wrong. As Maya walked down that long aisle, she noticed the whispers, the way some of Derek's relatives leaned toward each other, hands covering mouths, the way Derek wouldn't meet her eyes, the way his mother, Catherine Whitmore, would smile with her mouth but not her eyes, suggesting that maybe Maya should reconsider her natural hair for the wedding. Something more elegant, dear. Maya reached the altar, her heart pounding. Her father kissed her cheek, squeezed her hand, and stepped back. She turned to face Derek, searching his face for the warmth, the love, the excitement she'd expected to see on their wedding day. But Derek was sweating. His eyes darted around the church, landing everywhere except on her. His hands shook as he reached for hers. The pastor, Reverend Williams, one of the few black guests in the building, opened his Bible and smiled warmly at them both. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Maya and Derek in holy matrimony. The traditional words flowed, but tension crackled in the air like static electricity. Maya could feel it. She glanced at Derek's groomsman. Chad was smirking, elbowing another groomsman. Derek's mother sat motionless, her face a mask of disgust she wasn't even trying to hide anymore. When Reverend Williams asked if anyone objected to the marriage, the silence stretched too long. Someone in Derek's section coughed, another person shifted loudly in their pew. Then came the vows. Derek, do you take Maya to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, as long as you both shall live? Derek opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Maya's smile faltered. Derek, she whispered. He dropped her hands, actually dropped them, letting them fall to her sides like they'd burned him. The church erupted in gasps and whispers. I can't do this, Derek said, his voice breaking. But it wasn't sadness in his voice, it was panic, fear, shame. What? Maya's voice was barely audible. What are you saying? I'm sorry, I can't marry you. He stepped back, creating distance between them. Maya felt the floor tilt beneath her. Derek, what's happening? Talk to me. This was a mistake. The words exploded from him, and the church went deadly silent. I thought I could do this, but I can't. My family, my reputation. I'm sorry, Maya. I'm so sorry. Before Maya could process what was happening, Derek turned and walked away. Just walked away. Down the altar steps, up the aisle, past the shocked guests, past his own mother, who sat stone-faced, not even reaching out to stop him. The church door slammed behind him with a finality that echoed through the vaulted ceiling. 200 people stared at Maya, the abandoned bride, the humiliated woman, left at the altar. She stood frozen, her white dress suddenly feeling like a costume, her carefully applied makeup unable to hide the devastation crashing over her. Tears streamed down her face. Her bridesmaids rushed forward, but she couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then the whispers started. I knew this wouldn't work out, someone from Derek's side said, not even bothering to lower his voice. What did she expect? These mixed marriages never last. His mother tried to warn him. She probably trapped him somehow. Poor Derek. He finally came to his senses. Each comment was a knife. Maya heard every single one. Her legs gave out, and Keisha and Jasmine caught her, holding her up as sobs racked her body. Maya's father stood up, his face twisted with rage. You people should be ashamed of yourselves, he shouted at Derek's section. She loved him. She gave him everything. Derek's mother finally stood, her voice ice cold. Please, let's not make more of a scene than necessary. Derek made his choice. Perhaps everyone should just go home. The cruelty of it, the casual dismissal, as if Maya's broken heart, her destroyed dreams, her public humiliation meant nothing. Less than nothing. Maya's section erupted. Angry voices, people standing, pointing, confronting Derek's guests. The church divided into chaos. Black guests defending Maya's dignity, white guests making excuses, or, worse, agreeing that Derek did the right thing. He would have thrown his whole future away. It's better this happened now than after they had children. Can you imagine the complications? Maya heard it all. Every racist justification, every coded phrase, every cruel dismissal of her worth. She pulled away from her bridesmaids and stood there alone, her veil askew, her makeup ruined, her world shattered. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Instead, it became the day she learned exactly what Derek's love was worth, what she was worth in the eyes of people who smiled to her face, but saw her as a problem, an obstacle, a mistake. Reverend Williams tried to calm everyone down, but the damage was done. Guests were grabbing coats, leaving in groups, the church emptying in chaos and judgment. Maya's mother reached her daughter, wrapping her arms around her. "Baby, let's get you out of here. You don't need to stay in this place another second." But Maya couldn't move. She stood there at the altar, staring at the space where Derek had been standing, where he promised to love her, where he had looked her in the eyes and lied. Just as her family was about to lead her out through a side door to avoid more humiliation, it happened. A sound outside. Low at first, then growing, rumbling, roaring. Engines, motorcycle engines, dozens of them, hundreds of them. The remaining guests froze, looking toward the front doors. The sound grew impossibly loud, shaking the building's foundation. Then the doors burst open, both of them, slamming against the walls. And there he stood, a massive white man, at least 6'5", covered in tattoos, wearing a black leather vest with patches and chains. His presence filled the doorway. Behind him, the church parking lot was a sea of motorcycles and leather-clad bikers, big, intimidating men and women. White bikers, every single one of them, their engines still rumbling like thunder. The church guests gasped, some screamed. Derek's mother clutched her pearls, her face going pale. The biker walked down the aisle slowly, deliberately, his boots heavy on the floor. His gang began filing in behind him, lining the pews, their arms crossed, their faces serious. One after another, the church filled with them, 500 strong, an army of bikers in leather and denim. Maya looked up through her tears, confused, terrified, not understanding what was happening. The biker reached the altar. Up close, his face was weathered, scarred, but his eyes, bright blue and intense, were filled with something unexpected, compassion and anger. He stopped directly in front of Maya, towering over her. The entire church held its breath. What happened next would change everything.
The bikers stared at Maya for a long moment, then slowly removed his sunglasses. His eyes were wet. "Maya Thompson?" His voice was deep, rough, but gentle. She nodded, unable to speak. "My name is Marcus Kane," he said, "and I owe you an apology. We all do." He gestured to the 500 bikers now filling the church. Maya's confusion showed on her face. "I don't understand." Marcus turned to face the remaining guests, particularly Derek's family and friends who'd stayed behind. When he spoke, his voice carried through the entire church. 23 years ago, I was in a car accident. Stupid. Drunk driving. I wrapped my truck around a telephone pole and should have died. But I didn't, because a black nurse named Patricia Thompson refused to give up on me. She held my hand in that ambulance, told me I was going to make it, and stayed by my side through 3 surgeries. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. "My mother." "Your mother saved my life," Marcus continued, his voice breaking. "And when I got out of the hospital, she didn't just send me home. She visited me, helped me get sober, helped me find purpose. She's the reason I turned my life around, the reason I started this motorcycle club. Not for trouble, but for brotherhood, for helping people, for doing better." He pulled out his phone, showing Maya a photo. It was her mother, younger, in scrubs, with her arm around a much younger Marcus who was covered in bandages. "When I heard about your wedding, your mama told me all about it. So proud of you. I was happy for you. But then, an hour ago, she called me. She was crying. She told me what that coward did to you. She told me how his family and friends were treating you, the things they were saying." Marcus's jaw clenched, and I made some calls to every member of every motorcycle club I know in a 5-state radius, because there are some things we don't tolerate. And humiliating someone we consider family, destroying a good woman because of racism and cowardice, that's at the top of the list. He turned back to Derek's mother, who looked like she wanted to disappear. "You should be ashamed. Your son professed to love this woman, made promises to her, and then broke her heart because he cared more about what you people thought than about doing what's right. That's not just cruel, it's cowardly." One of the bikers, a woman with silver hair and a fierce expression, stepped forward. "I was a nurse with Patricia Thompson. I'm white. Patricia treated every patient with dignity and love, regardless of color. She saved lives. She changed lives. And her daughter inherited that same beautiful spirit. What was done to her today, it's disgusting." Another biker spoke up, a black man with graying temples. "Some of us know what it's like to be judged before people know us, to be dismissed because of how we look. We wear leather and ride bikes, and people cross the street. But we know who we are, we know our worth, and we stand with people who've been torn down by ignorance and hate." The church was silent now, except for the sound of Maya's quiet sobs. But these were different tears. Tears of shock, of unexpected support, of being defended when she felt most alone. Marcus gently took Maya's hand. "Listen to me. What happened today doesn't define you. That man's weakness doesn't diminish your worth. You are Patricia Thompson's daughter, and that means you're strong, you're resilient, and you're loved by more people than you know." He turned to his gang. "Brothers, sisters, what do we say?" In unison, 500 voices thundered through the church. "We stand with Maya!" The sound shook the rafters. It filled every corner. It drowned out every cruel whisper, every racist justification, every ounce of shame they'd tried to heap on her. Maya looked at these strangers, this army of bikers who had driven from miles away, who didn't know her but came anyway because her mother had shown kindness decades ago, because doing right mattered more than doing easy. She looked at Derek's mother, at his friends, at everyone who'd participated in her humiliation. They looked terrified now, ashamed, small. And Maya stood taller. "Thank you," she whispered to Marcus, her voice growing stronger. "Thank you for coming." Marcus smiled, genuine and warm. Family protects family, always. But what happened after the bikers arrived would reveal an even deeper truth about the day and about the community that had been watching all along.
The bikers didn't leave. Instead, they did something extraordinary. Marcus made a phone call, and within 30 minutes, the church's fellowship hall was transformed. The wedding reception that was supposed to celebrate Maya and Derek's union became something else entirely. A celebration of Maya herself, of survival, of community, of chosen family. The bikers pooled money and ordered food from local restaurants, black-owned businesses that Maya's mother had mentioned. They moved the flowers from the sanctuary. They turned on music, and they invited everyone from Maya's side to stay. This food was already paid for, Marcus announced. This day was supposed to be a celebration, and it will be, just not the one everyone expected. Maya changed out of her wedding dress with her bridesmaid's help, putting on a simple purple dress she'd brought for the reception. When she emerged, the fellowship hall erupted in applause. 500 bikers, her family, her friends, all cheering for her. But the most powerful moment came when Maya's mother approached Marcus, tears streaming down her face. They embraced, and Patricia whispered, "I knew you'd become something special. I always knew." You saw me when no one else did. You treated me like I mattered. That's a debt I'll spend my whole life repaying." As the impromptu celebration continued, Maya stood at the center of it all, watching bikers dance with her aunts, watching her father laugh with Marcus and his crew, watching her community, expanded beyond anything she'd imagined, come together in defiance of the cruelty she'd experienced. Keisha approached with her phone. "Maya, you need to see this." Social media had exploded. Someone had filmed the bikers' arrival and posted it online. The video had millions of views. Comments poured in from around the world. This is what real community looks like. Those bikers showed more character in 1 hour than that groom showed in 2 years. I'm crying. This is beautiful. Maya, if you're reading this, you dodged a bullet. You deserve so much better. But there was more. Derek's pharmaceutical company issued a statement condemning his actions after the story went viral. Her mother's country club membership was suspended when members learned about her behavior. And Derek himself posted a pathetic apology that was torn apart in the comments. None of it gave Maya satisfaction, though, because she'd learned something more important. She didn't need Derek's validation. She didn't need her family's approval. She didn't need anyone who couldn't see her worth, her strength, her beauty. That evening, as the celebration wound down, Maya stood outside the church with Marcus and her mother. "What you did today," Maya said to Marcus, "I'll never forget it. You showed me that family isn't just blood. It's who shows up, who stands up, who refuses to let you face darkness alone." Marcus nodded. "Your mama taught me that years ago. I'm just passing it forward." "But why?" Maya asked. "Why did you really come with 500 bikers? You could have just called, checked on me." Marcus was quiet for a moment, then said, "Because silence is acceptance. Because if we'd stayed home, we would have been saying that what happened to you was okay, that racism and cruelty can go unchallenged. And I learned from your mother that when you see injustice, you don't look away. You show up, you speak up, you make it impossible to ignore." Patricia squeezed both their hands. "The world is changing, babies. Slowly, painfully, but it's changing. Because of moments like this. Because of people who refuse to accept cruelty as normal." 3 months later, Maya stood in front of a new audience. Not wedding guests, but nursing students at the local university. She'd been invited to speak about resilience, about dignity, about standing tall when the world tries to break you. "I won't lie," she told them. "That day broke something in me, but it also built something stronger. It showed me who I am when everything I thought I knew was stripped away. It showed me the difference between people who love you when it's convenient and people who love you when it costs them something. And it taught me that sometimes your real family shows up on motorcycles." The audience laughed through tears. So when life humiliates you, when racism tries to tell you you're less than, when cruelty tries to define your story, remember that you get to write the next chapter. And sometimes the next chapter is better than anything you originally planned.